Pope Francis has signaled a new tone toward homosexuality, once commenting, "Who am I to judge?" But church conservatives have blasted the bishop's report. One group called it one of the worst official documents drafted in church history and said, "Those who are controlling the synod have betrayed Catholic parents worldwide." The bishops will issue a final report next week. The gathering is unlikely to change church doctrine, but it is setting a tone and could lead to changes in Catholicism around the world. While the report did signal a change, it also restated the church's position that marriage is between a man and a woman. It also discussed other family issues. For example, it called on pastors to treat divorced Catholics who have remarried with respect. Roxana Saberi, Al Jazeera.
We're joined now by Father Luke Sweeney of the New York Archdiocese. He's also the Vice Rector of New York College Seminary, and Patrick Hornbeck, Chair of Theology at Fordham University. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
What did the bishops mean with this statement? Quote, "Without denying moral problems connected to homosexual unions, it has to be noted that there are cases in which mutual aid to the point of sacrifice constitutes a precious support in the life of the partners." Father Sweeney, let's start with you.
Sure. I think it's the church looking at the reality of the situation while not kind of glazing over problems in that. The church is also saying that there's a lot that's authentic. The sacrifice, the support, the church needs to be about that, encouraging people on this journey of life.
What do you think, Patrick, about that statement? What does it mean?
Well, I think that over the last few months, Pope Francis has talked about pastors smelling the sheep. He talks about clergymen and bishops really finding out what people's lives are like, and I think that Father Luke is right about that. But I also think that in each of these paragraphs where the document is talking about homosexuality, talking about same-sex couples, there's always that qualification. In the quote you read, "while we can't ignore this." And I think that's still problematic.
Yeah, because let's talk about that, because the bishops are having this conversation. It has not changed church doctrine. Gay sex is, quote, "intrinsically disordered" and a, quote, "act of grave depravity," according to church doctrine. This has not changed that. Would you expect that to change?
I'm not expecting it from this synod, absolutely. One of the things that we're seeing is that Pope Francis and the bishops who are following after him are using, as Father Luke was saying, much more compassionate language, much more outreach. But at the same time, this is the 300-pound elephant in the room, that the Catholic Church is continuing to teach that same-sex partnerships are not as good as opposite-sex partnerships. And I think that's the real nub of the matter in some crucial ways.
Father Sweeney, what do you think the tangible effects of this conversation and this statement by the bishops will have?
I think it's that the doors are open. All people are welcome to encounter the love and mercy of Christ. Obviously, this is a working document, so we're seeing the bishops kind of think things to be progressive in that. But at the same time, too, I think we're also confronting this idea that we can embrace the person and individuals, but we don't always have to embrace their lifestyle or the actions or the choices that they make.
Could some argue that that is sort of a half measure, that there will still be people in the LGBT community that don't feel fully embraced by the Catholic Church?
Well, I think I can say that about myself on the one hand, but at the same time, I think that the theological arguments that are being made in this document are really interesting and really worth looking at. In the 1960s, the Catholic Church said we can recognize the elements of good in other religions, even though we can't accept that they're as fully salvific or as fully revealed as Christianity is. And that's the analogy that this document is drawing. This document is saying that there is good in divorced families and there is good in same-sex unions, but it's just not as good as what's in this model of marriage that we're upholding.
Father Sweeney, does this Pope have his finger on a pulse in society? Because it should be noted that 30 states have now legalized same-sex marriage.
Sure. I mean, this is a Holy Father who took the subways to work every day. So obviously he does want, and especially through the bishops and through all the people that have come as experts to this synod, keep his finger on the pulse. But we can never forget that the Church is inviting people always, including them to encounter Christ, and that then it will accompany people in this pilgrimage which passes through the cross to eventually eternal life. And that will have a certain tension that sometimes will come up against the world.
Father Luke Sweeney and Patrick Hornbeck, thank you both for your insights this morning. Erica.